Okay, welcome downtown Portland, week 109, Justice for Qadira.
Good morning, downtown Portland. We are still out here.
Yep.
We are still calling for justice for our daughter, but we're not just calling for justice for our daughter. We are calling for justice for humanity.
That's right. And I just want to report, and this is a really sad report that I have to make today, but I've just been getting reports from women. There was a women's group. They wanted to come down here and speak, talking about biological women. They're afraid. They're afraid they'll be beaten in the streets, y'all. So they won't come out for this. And I think that's really sad. I don't know where all the men are on this issue, but it's really heartbreaking that in America today, biological women are afraid to stand up for an abused little girl because they're afraid they'll be beaten in the streets. I don't like getting that report, but that is the report I'm getting. And I mean just for them to come down here and express how they feel about what happened in this situation. So that's sad. That's the kind of environment we fostered here, unfortunately. I personally am not going to back down. So I'm not going to be afraid to come out in America and speak about any issue. We need to make sure we are protecting free speech and that people feel okay using their free speech.
Folks, I just want to state for the record that we don't have any problems with transgender rights, but we do have a problem with biological women being subjugated and not treated with respect and not cared for properly on this planet.
Right, and feeling like if they come out of their homes and say anything, they're going to be beaten in the streets, especially here in America, because, you know, clearly there's other areas of the world where this problem is even way, way worse, the way women are treated. So I'm just giving everybody that report. It's just a sad report. I don't think our elected officials or anybody really cares, but I'm just letting everybody know that that's the sentiment on the ground because we're out here doing this, and I just feel very much that women shouldn't be afraid to speak. Anyway, I want to start with some of the things that have been going on here in this city. And I'm going to start with, because of just what I just said, I'm going to hum a few bars of this article. And I'll just say it right now. Shame on Stoll Reeves. You want to turn the camera so people know what we're talking about. Stoll Reeves is a main defender of Nike. Me and my husband tangled with them for many years after my husband complained about discrimination and sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior on the Nike campus. And they're one of the law firms here. They protect Nike like a bulldog. And they really, what they do is they seek to strip people of their rights. So this is actually, I'm surprised that this issue is being covered by the Oregonian. But here I've got this article, female Nike employees allege details of sexual harassment, discrimination in newly unsealed documents. I'm not hearing enough about this in the media. I think it's really sad. People have been really taken in by Nike. It's like they can't do any wrong, even when they're abusing their U.S. employees. Okay, because they basically got every institution here paid off, so they just kind of get what they want. But I want to read a little bit about this, because it's a very concerning case. New details are coming to light in the midst of Nike's ongoing gender discrimination suit. A series of documents highlighting more details about the allegations of gender discrimination and sexual harassment at Nike has been unsealed to the public following a legal push from various publications with an interest in covering the news. The documents, which include thousands of pages of records of handwritten and typed surveys and interviews, allege a culture of harassment and intimidation for female employees working in what some describe as Nike's Boys Club. The initial gender discrimination lawsuit was filed in 2018, less than 4 months after the New York Times reported on the survey, which was delivered to then CEO Mark Parker. One survey respondent said that a male employee once told her to dress sexier and show some skin, though she said she did not report it at the time because she felt afraid and intimidated. Another survey response described seeing a higher-ranking male employee receiving oral sex from a lower-ranked female employee on campus. And another respondent detailed other instances of harassment, including sloppy drunk men putting their arms around waitresses or female co-workers while traveling for work. Shame on you, Sol Reeves. I know you can hear me. You know Corellin and Renee, don't ya? Right? AJ Pad, right? PK Runkles Pearson, y'all know us. Spent a lot of time with us. Yep. Nike is a boys' club, this respondent alleged. Females at this company have felt very little power to change a culture and environment that has been and continues to be disrespectful to women. The suit, which is ongoing, was recently denied a motion to be certified as a class action suit, but still represents the plaintiffs listed in the complaint. Kelly Cahill and Sarah Johnstone, both of whom resigned from their roles in 2017. Cahill had worked as a communication director at the company for close to 4 years, while Johnstone had been employed as an analyst for around a decade. According to the suit, filed in U.S. District Court in Oregon, both quit because they were being paid less than their male colleagues for substantially similar work and purportedly had fewer promotion opportunities. They also allege that Nike's HR department failed to adequately address their grievances after they brought complaints initially. While the newly unsealed documents add color to the allegations suggested in the suit, they are redacted in some instances to exclude names of executives and employees accused of problematic behavior, as well as the accusers. In April of 2018, Nike admitted that it had fallen short in promoting women and people of color. And in July, it announced a plan to raise salaries for 10% of its workforce to help correct pay inequity. I'm going to stop right there. I don't need to read the whole article, but when my husband was sexually assaulted on the campus in 2007, I'll pick that back up in a minute. And even though the company admitted it, he was still fired in retaliation for complaining and treated horribly up there, and the Equal Opportunity Commission allowed it. The Bureau of Labor and Industries allowed it. When we complained to them, they did nothing. And we're in a really dangerous space, not just here in Oregon with Nike, but all over the nation, because people...
Not just with Nike, folks, all these corporations, all these big money corporations that are basically running humanity right now. And
we need to watch closely when, especially though I want to really focus on Nike, because Nike really, it has the soul of the nation, doesn't it? In the palm of its hand, which is a really interesting thing that went on. They may not be the wealthiest company, Phil Knight's on the list of billionaires, but they have the soul of the nation in the palm of their hands, because people associate good feelings with sport and good feelings with Nike and all this, that, and the third, but you got to look closely at how they treat their employees. Now, it's interesting, after my husband complained about sexual harassment, and Nike came back and they essentially said that they admitted to it, but they just wouldn't move him away from the person that was harassing him. And they basically said, just go back to work with that person. So my husband did end up filing a charge of sex discrimination, and they came back and they said, no, if it had been a female employee, we would have treated her the same way, which we now see is true. Look, people of color, women, They're being assaulted up there. They're being denigrated. They're being treated like trash. And if that's how the U.S. employees are being treated, just think about what goes on in the factories. Because I've read some stories. I've read some things. You know, what they do is they just contract out to third parties, you know, in these countries where, you know, the governments are whoring their people out for, you know, 25 cents an hour. You know, women are being spit on, raped, beaten. I mean, these people are left in tiny rooms to work 18 hours a day. They get a bowl and a spoon. So that's the model Nike's trying to bring here. And I just think that let's just be open and honest about it. What's interesting about this lawsuit, these 14 women who have had the bravery to come forward, they couldn't get it recognized as a class action. Marco Hernandez denied their desire to have that done. Marco Hernandez was involved in Stevens versus Nike. He's has complete allegiance to Nike, stripped my husband of his rights. He was one of the judges. So he really should have recused himself from this case, but since the media never covered Stevens versus Nike, which again, my husband went up against Nike pro se, against lawyers in this law firm, this big building you see here, all by himself. And yes, they protected Nike, stripped them of their rights, and we believe paid off the court. So Stoll's probably doing that now because this, I don't know if Stoll is representing these women or representing Nike against these women, but I will say that they've drugged the lawsuit out for 5 years. So this is a tactic Nike uses when people speak up at the company. They bleed them. They bleed them. So when my husband went to the EEOC, Nike illegally fired him and then blacklisted him from the entire industry, shoe industry, and then waited for us to just, you know, die in poverty, essentially, because they had ripped away his ability to earn a living. And so, again, I've talked about this. Our family went through years of being on welfare and in poverty because of how this was handled. We need to start talking about this because we can't have corporations, you know, these big corporations having a complete hold on all of our institutions because, you know, then people really have no rights. And the more dependent we become on these large corporations, the more we lose our rights. And like what's going on in the city now, and I've been telling people this, is we need to start looking at Nike and their tactics. They were a huge, they funded BLM. My theory is they are funding Antifa, and that is why we are seeing so much destruction in the city to small businesses. The more small businesses that are destroyed here in the city, the more the city and the state is dependent on Nike, you know, and on Intel. I'm not yelling, I'm giving you good information that you need. I'm telling you guys, you gotta listen here because a lot of people are being harmed by Nike and this disgusting tactic that they are using. That is what I think. I think that Nike is involved in a slew of crimes against my family. They are involved in a lot of discrimination on their campus, and in order to keep the spotlight off of them, you know, I think that they're paying for the destruction of the city. That is my theory. But with the media not really reporting on this or asking, I don't really know. What I do know is I constantly see businesses and citizens crying about the condition of the city. And what I do know is most of the protest stuff has kind of gone away now. Me and my husband are some of the only people out here. Nike has an interest in making sure that nobody ever turns a camera on this because they've been involved in some really sleazy, dirty, un-American things, okay? And people, you need to pay attention, and I'm talking to the business community here, pull your head out of the sand. These people are not your friends. Okay, they're not trying to help you. And you would never get away with the crimes that Nike's getting away with. They're getting away with it because of their reputation and their cash. And that is really unfortunate because the people who are running our institutions here, they shouldn't have allegiance to Nike. They should have allegiance to the United States of America and our policies and our laws and things like that.
And to the people.
And to the people, but they don't, because they are now a global company. Their next stop is China. They have slaves in China. They like to have slaves here. They kind of do have slaves here, higher paid ones, because if you're working at Nike and you as so much complain about anything, and that includes being raped in a closet, you will be fired and silenced. They made an example out of my husband, okay? And then funded BLM to the tune of millions and put up this huge Colin Kaepernick campaign like they care about Black lives and all this. It's all lies. And I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, people need to know what they're supporting. This company needs to change its ways big time, and the legal community here needs to stop protecting this absolutely disgusting, egregious behavior. Because every attorney in this town knows what they're involved in. They're just taking money from the devil left and right. The devil writes their checks, so that's who they listen to. And so that's why this country is just going downhill, okay? We don't even know who is attacking us anymore. It's the corporations. The thing is they don't need the American population the way they used to. They made their money. They're moving on to, greener pastures. In countries where people can be slapped around and treated like slaves. So, like I said, Phil Knight really likes the model in China. That's why he's taken a lot of business over there, and that's why, they're running factories in places where people can be abused and there's no worker protections, because that's what they really stand for. I see the swoosh everywhere. It's not a good symbol, okay? To me, the swoosh means Satan. I'm not kidding. I see swooshes, they burn my eyes. It's horrible. I'm sorry that is the way that the people in that company have chosen to disrespect America, especially when it's America that made them this great, big, nice company. But that's the reality of what's going on there. So, like I said to the business community, believe me, don't believe me, but you need to read Justice for Qadira, and you need to start asking yourself the hard questions. Because they are allowing the destruction of this city for a reason, and it's to protect Nike, okay? All your politicians are getting kickbacks from them. They're paying whoever they need to pay. They have billions of dollars, and the white envelopes are going out every single day to the detriment of all the small business owners and citizens in this city. And nobody wants to say anything because they're getting money from Nike. So that's the reality. I don't know if anybody's going to act on it or do anything about it, but it's Nike that's destroying this city and this state and really this country, because we are too afraid to call them out on their terrible behavior, not only here in America, but overseas. One other thing I want to say, and this is especially to the black community, who is clearly not down here, even though our daughter is black and was burned up by our white neighbors and Black Lives Matter and yada, yada, yada. I seen that Nike gave the black community something like $40 million or more, whatever, for BLM. I don't know where that money went, but the fact of the matter is I just wanted to let the audience know, as I found the black community, they're in Nike's pocket. That's what the black leadership is doing here. They won't even come out for our daughter because, and it's pathetic, but they're in Nike's pocket along with everybody else. So I don't want to hear about this white supremacy nonsense anymore when you're over there supporting it. I'm telling the black community that, okay? Straight up. You know, I see mostly people in the black community adorned from head to toe in Nike. So, you know, if you're supporting, you know, your white slave owner, well, stop bitching that you're getting abused. You know, I don't really understand it. See, I'm out here opposing this. There's nobody out here except for my husband, me and my husband. We think that Nike and American corporations in general need to be treating people better. They need to act more like small business owners who actually have some allegiance to their employees because they're not completely disconnected from the lifestyle the regular person leads. But these billionaire corporations, billion-dollar corporations, their management, their CEOs, their owners, they don't even know how to operate in regular everyday society, and they don't care about regular everyday people anymore. So that's a big problem, and I just wanted to make sure that I brought it up because, again, nobody should be afraid if they are being discriminated against at work to speak up, or if they're assaulted or hurt at work. You know, nobody needs to be dealing with that in their life. That can lead to community violence. That can lead to workplace shootings. That can lead to all kinds of problems: suicide, drug abuse, alcoholism, you name it. You know, when somebody's livelihood is at stake in a society where money is required to survive, you know, screwing around with their job is like the last thing you want to do. So, again, the United States right now and our elected officials, they're more concerned with Nike's reputation than making sure that they are operating inside the law. I hope you wrote that all down, Stoll Reeves. I hope all your attorneys are taking note of what I'm saying, because y'all know you're foul and you know you're in on it. Okay? And you know for a fact that Nike's doing this to this community, and it needs to stop. Okay?
Folks, money has no allegiance to people. Okay? We need to look at how the money is flowing. I mean, I know we all know that, but where it's coming from and why it's going in the direction that it's going. But I can tell you this right now, money is not here for people, okay? And people is what we need to be concerned about, because that is what our society is made of. Our society is not made of money. It is made of people. Yes, we use money to organize ourselves, but maybe we should start reflecting on that understanding, that agreement, because I don't think it's working for the majority of people on this planet.
Right, we're in a situation where these corporations have amassed so much money, now they just decide they're just going to do what they want and roll out whatever agenda they want, and they're not going to be worried about anybody's health or safety.
Folks,
and, you know, when you see that, you know, there's a pattern here with Nike. Lots of people have been complaining. I mean, and when my husband complained, they were brutal. They were brutal. So when I look at their donations specifically to BLM, something's really shifty shady.
It's real sus.
Something's really shifty shady, because
when you look at BLM and what was actually accomplished for black people, we actually went backwards.
Yep.
We went backwards. We destroyed black communities. Okay? There were a lot of black heroes who died in that movement. Okay? And it wasn't to support black people. So what are we really doing here? We're not having genuine conversations about race here in this country anymore. Not since MLK, not since the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Oh, and boy, was MLK Day here in Portland, wasn't that a shameful day? Everybody out marching, but ignoring this.
Very disingenuous, folks.
It's all very sickening.
Very disingenuous because actually black people don't matter here in this city. So why do you keep saying that? Because we've been out here for 2 years with our black child and nobody cares.
Martin Luther King isn't an ad. You know, he's not an ad. You know, you just get out because he's an ad. They put his face on something. You go give money, go for a little march, and then it's all over with. We're not trying to have any meaningful conversations about race in this city. If we can be standing down here for over 2 years, it's over 2 years now, you guys. We're in year 3, literally. And it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing that our elected officials let this go on and on. Simply because Nike got involved in covering up this crime, and they got involved in covering up this crime against our daughter. Do you want to turn the sign today? Because the fact of the matter is they were so angry at my husband for complaining because they felt that the white man should have been able to rape him in the closet. And that's what he was supposed to put up with at work. Even though he's, not interested in that. You know what I'm saying? And doesn't want to be around that. But no, in order to have an income, that's what he was subjected to, okay? So, and when he said no, he lost everything. So, what are we really talking about here? Because Nike put up a whole campaign with Colin Kaepernick like they care about black people and whether they get blacklisted and the NFL is so terrible and believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. Well, it looks like America's sacrificing everything for Nike's agenda, whatever that is. I'd like for maybe Stoll Reeves, maybe an attorney from Stoll Reeves will come out and tell us what Nike's agenda is.
Yeah, AJ,
because I think
why don't you come on down?
AJ Pedersen might want to come on down.
Why don't you come on down and explain to us what Nike is up to, what they are trying to do.
And what you've been up to trying to cover up for them. Okay? And all these judges in this community covering up for them because you're not doing the American citizens any favors, especially when you have a company that is using social movements, okay, to push whatever agenda they got going on. I think the agenda at Nike is let's destroy the cities so everybody's dependent on Phil's money and Nike's money, so we all could just be on the dole together, I guess, right? Maybe they'll give us a hut and a bowl and a spoon, and that we'll live like the people in China do.
And we can really be treated like slaves.
If they decide to give us a scrap, right? Because at that point, they'll decide whether you even get the bowl or the spoon or the hut. And we're already in that conversation here in Portland. Things are so bad, they want to set up the concentration camps. I'm assuming the concentration camps will have a little swoosh at the entrance, because that'll be who's funding it. People need to wake up and see where this whole thing is going. I also want to talk about the way the papers. There was a shooting on MLK Day. I guess there was 2 more today because that's just what goes on in this city. People run around shooting each other. And the title of the article, shockingly to me, I wake up the other day, click on KATU, who is shamefully ignoring this protest. Or they have no shame, one or the other. Community honors man killed in Northeast Portland, marking city's first shooting homicide of 2023.
Folks, why are we glorifying violence?
Yeah.
If we don't want it to be happening anymore, why are we trying to discourage people in the media from picking up guns and shooting each other? No, but this man is getting honored.
Right.
Just like George Floyd was honored. They have a bronze statue of this man now. Folks, we cannot be glorifying violence and then expecting it to go away.
Yeah, I read this article. The community honors the man shot in North Portland. He's obviously a young gang member, 24 years old. It was real obvious from the pictures.
Folks,
but there was another article just 2 years prior about Patrick Kimmons talking about a community. Let me go find the title of the article. if you go out,
get shot,
if
or
you
shoot
get shot
somebody,
by police, you can be honored. Here, demonstrators.
not just by police, but if
the
you
community.
just go out and get shot.
Demonstrators honor man killed by Portland police in 2018. Call for change. Look, these deaths are tragic because both these young men had turned to gun violence and gangs way before they got shot by police. Okay, so their lives were essentially lost already. Same with George Floyd. I mean, before he died, and you can argue about whether it was the knee or whether it was the fentanyl, we had already lost him to drugs and violence and all of that in the first place. The guy was a mess. You know, the reality is, though, the paper paints this as if, oh, if you're in the black community, go get shot, and this is how you can get honored. That's what young people hear.
Yeah, this is how you get respect from the community,
right, and
by going and getting shot.
I want to say to the news, don't put stuff out like that, because it's like, that's sending the wrong message to the youth. You know, you say you want to stop gun violence. Well, if it's KGW, KATU, whatever, just zip it. You don't even know how to report on this stuff. You're making it worse just by putting out articles like that. I don't need a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old young person, or even a 20-year-old, 25-year-old in the black community reading that somebody was honored because they were gunned down by police because they were committing a crime. Come on. You know, I don't know. Me and my husband have been down here not committing crimes and fighting for our daughter, you know, in a peaceful manner. No honor there. That's very interesting. But then again, I told you at the beginning of this, I found the black community. They're in Nike's back pocket along with everybody else in this city and in this state and quite frankly in this country. Because you have a global company that everybody wants to associate good feelings with, you know, and the fact of the matter is they are not actually being a good company. They're not taking care of their employees. They're not taking care of their factory workers. They're not representing America on the world stage in a good way. And that is happening with a lot of American corporations, just a lot of international corporations. I want to put this out here again because I never hear it talked about in the media, but I'm going to keep saying it, even though I'm, you know, nobody's, no, I'm not going to shut up. You can go and be quiet. That's on you. I mean, it's funny to me because I'm going to fight for a better world. I'm not going to be quiet because somebody who isn't fighting for a better world walks by and tells me to be quiet. What a joke. Anyway, we're talking about this mess on our border. Yeah.
Really? Are you?
Really? Well, I'm out here doing it. I want to finish my thought. My thought is this. I don't know why the multinational...
I hope you are fighting for a better world.
I want to know why
but that's not what it looks like.
I want to finish my thought before I forget it. I want to finish my thought before I think about it.
Thank you.
Forget about it. I don't understand why we are not going to the corporations and asking them to pay just a little bit better of a wage, especially right down there on the border in the Maquiadoras, so people maybe could have a little bit of a life if they decide to, thank you for stopping, if they decide to stay where they are. You know, we're not creating any incentives south of the border for people to stay put, and then we're complaining that people are flowing over the border, and it's just real simple. You can work for $2 an hour in the Maquiadoras right there on the border, or if you get over that imaginary line, you might get $15-20 an hour at a Dairy Queen, you know, in Texas. So we've got issues, or California, whatever. We've got issues there that are, I think, we're not even having the discussions we need to have to solve them because it always has to be about corporate greed and these billionaires who, I don't even know why they need to keep billions and lifetimes of cash. You know, they've produced all this wealth, but they're not helping anybody be more self-sufficient with it because they literally pay slave wages. That's a problem. I mean, small businesses here in America, they can't pay somebody $2 an hour or 75 cents an hour, but big corporations can, and that is a problem. You know, if they were just required to at least pay the American federal minimum wage when they went overseas, the people that they were contracting with could be more self-sufficient where they are. But no one ever, we can't even employ any simple solutions to stem the flow and make things better for people.
Because it's not about making things better for people.
Thank you.
It's not, folks. And that's the problem.
That's the problem. We don't want people.
The main problem is that our world is not geared towards making things better for people. Our world is geared towards making money and owning things, when that should not be our goal.
It shouldn't be the goal just because people need the money to survive, and that's the agreement we have.
Don't need the money to survive. That's the funny thing. We have an agreement. That's true. But we can always talk. We can have a conversation about what this agreement really means for humanity.
And how the agreement is working or not working. I think what we have right now is we have a huge bottleneck happening because all of the labor, all of the wealth, it's just going to literally just a few people. And because they are being so selfish, really, what I call a billionaire is a hoarder. We recognize hoarding as a mental health condition until people do it with cash. Then for some reason, it becomes acceptable. I'm not saying that people can't live nice because they had a great idea and put together a nice company, but when you start socking lifetimes of cash away that nobody has access to, then you create a problem where lots and lots of people, millions, are not able to actually take care of themselves even though they're working. That's why we have the working poor. The working poor are some of the hardest working people on the planet. They are busting their ass. A lot of times, 18 hours a day, barely sleeping, and they're getting nothing for it. And then people are mad at them for being poor when they're already working.
Folks,
they can't do anymore. They can't do anymore to climb out of the poverty.
There's no reason why we should be treating people like we are treating people right now. There is a blatant disregard for people's lives, which is why we have so many people laying on the street right now. And it's not like we cannot be helping these people, but we are so invested in the systems that we have created to organize our society that it's fine for us to be hurting people trying to keep the system intact. And right now we are holding a pyramid, okay, upside down, okay? We're trying to balance this thing when all we need to do is turn it right side up and it would balance itself. So what we're talking about doing is making people the actual foundation of our economy, not money, not gold or silver, not no bricks, okay, not no cryptocurrency, actual people.
We need to start taking care of people. I mean, if we want to fix anything on this planet, not just in this city, but we can start here. So we need to start taking care of people. And what have we learned for the last 2 years with Justice for Qadira is that our elected officials are really great at ignoring problems and causing division. Okay?
That's
about all they do. They're not leaders. They're not leaders. Just because somebody, gets elected into some office or whatever, that doesn't make them a leader. It doesn't mean they have any leadership skills. And unfortunately, our political system is full of people who are not leaders. They're showboating, they're actors, they're taking money from corporations to present issues a certain way, to push an agenda. And the agenda, I think, here is really pushing everybody into poverty, and there'll just be a few select people, that have millions of dollars,
Folks, it really does look like the agenda here globally is to get rid of regular people.
It's shocking to me that, you can have a factory worker or even somebody like myself. I'm a caregiver, work really hard. My husband's a laborer. We work really hard. You can work day and night to try to take care of yourself and still not to be able to pay your bills. But you have somebody like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, $135 million deals for whining about their family? For whining about their family and telling a bunch of lies in some book? I've been trying to get my book out for the last, I think, 3 years, Justice for Qadira. No one reads it. Prince Harry's book is the fastest selling book in the nation or all over the world. Why? He's not even telling the truth. He's just...
So I just let them go by.
Sorry. City's always on fire. What can you do? Probably another shooting. Probably another shooting because some young person wants to be honored by the news here. And that's what's really sad. You know what I'm saying? Again, 2 more people shot in the city, probably a third. Who knows? That's what they want. And it's really, really disgusting to have to watch it.
Folks, they're doing a really good job. They're doing a really good job of getting us to get rid of each other, okay? Which is absolutely the opposite thing that we need to be doing.
It's because
we need to be promoting each other. We need to be taking care of each other.
Actually, you speak when you promote. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You speak when you promote shit at the end of the fucking day.
Right.
Yes. Right? You don't guide motherfuckers silently with 39 motherfuckers going 57 directions.
Right.
And perpetuate they fucking people.
Right.
Period. Point blank.
Right.
If shit matters, you don't put carbon dioxide in the air and tell a motherfucker to breathe.
Right. Exactly. This guy, he's got it. He knows what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? There's just not enough voices being congregated to talk about this stuff. So that's why we're out here. We are out here trying to gather up those voices so they actually mean something.
I also want to talk about these protest movements because having done this for over 2 years now, I know these protest movements are funded because people don't just get up and come protest with you. It doesn't happen like that. You got to work a lot harder. So I know there's a core group of Antifa people and BLM people getting paid. Okay, I know it. When they put on these shows where they're busting things up and stuff like that,
and
they have to be. Because I'm telling you right now,
especially when they get media coverage.
Yeah, the media is involved.
Coverage coming from?
The media is involved.
The media is being used to push an agenda, and whenever these groups show up and you see them on the mass media, that is something being promoted by this group that has this agenda to get rid of people.
Well, they put them on the media because they want you all to come down and join in.
Join in the violence.
That's my theory.
The division.
That's our theory.
Join in the hate. Join in hurting other people.
Yeah, that's
not protecting them. Not lifting people up.
Yep, that's our theory. They pay a group of agitators. They blast it all over the media, and then more people show up because they think it's the popular cool thing to do.
But it's
so
not.
Shame on the media for promoting violence like that and division in this country because look, it's all falling apart. But again, y'all, that's what the billionaires want. That's what the billionaire corporations want. That's what Nike wants because see, after they come through and sweep up all the people they consider useless and don't need to be here and throw them in the camp and starve them and kill them or whatever they're going to do, then they'll just keep, the Harrys and Megans and the Phil Knights and, the people they choose to want to be here. That's it.
And that's going to be a very small group of people because these people need so much. Okay, they want a lot. They want way more than they need.
Yeah.
Okay, and they want to keep on doing that. These people want to go out there and own planets and stars and stuff. That's not, folks. That's not okay.
I always bring up Bill Gates' mansion over there in Washington. It's just one of his houses, but 60,000 square feet for one person.
And he owns all the properties around.
When he turns on,
that's how all these people behave.
When he turns on the heat, does he heat the whole
then instead he's sitting there telling you that you shouldn't be using anything.
Exactly.
Like you're using too much.
And he thinks he still needs more because every day more and more money's flowing into his account while he gets to abuse the workers overseas or the workers here or whatever. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We are at the mercy of these people now. And, you know, that's essentially what communism is everybody gets dependent on the one entity, the state, and then that's where they're the high moral people like Nike tries to be, right? They're all moral and they care about everybody. Yeah, right. Total lie. But they're going to dole out to you what they think you deserve, what you should have. So that's the agenda here. And it's very, very obvious, which is why we are seeing the destruction of our small businesses. So again, I say to the small business community, look at Nike, read my book, understand what's going on here. Don't just cry to the media and act like there's nothing you can do about what's going on in this city, because there's a lot more you can do. Get empowered. Get empowered, because it's the small businesses that really make a community. It's the small businesses that are really uplifting people in these communities and all over the nation.
And ultimately, it's the people. It's the common people that are working together to put on our society, folks. But now what they want to do is get rid of us. They want to replace us with AI and robots and all this stuff. I mean, we all need to be concerned with this chat GPT. I don't know what they got going on, but folks, this AI is getting way too advanced. And when you see it's advancing far faster than we can control how it's spreading and taking over our world. And taking over our jobs for people, because what happens when they don't need people to do anything anymore, design shoes, make clothes, this, that. Well, I'll tell you, the billionaires, they'll just throw you out in the trash. And that's what goes on in these big corporations. You complain about one little thing, even being raped on the job, and they throw you out. And then they just put a little black mark by your name, and you're never seen in the industry again. That's right, you're flagged.
It's very common. And if you complain to the EEOC, then they know who you are, and they come for you. So
I experienced it directly, folks. We know what we're talking about. So, like I said before, if we can't start having a genuine conversation about, the foundation of our society, which is money, okay, if we cannot start making people actually matter here on our planet, we are going to lose everything that is good here on this planet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know why people think that, this whole sentiment that there's too many people on the planet, like, we don't even
dangerous thing.
We don't even really all know.
Coming from the top, mind you.
Yeah, and these people are sick at the top, and we just don't recognize them as sick.
No,
I mean, I don't get it. If somebody's hoarding food, if somebody's hoarding clothing, all kinds of things. I used to watch that show, Hoarders. You get a team of people in there and you help them start clearing. You don't let them hold on to all that shit. But when it comes to money, and you're in a temporal body, you're not going to be here forever. I don't mind if people take what they need and take even a little bit more, but take it all? I got a problem with that. There's a lot of people on the planet that need to be provided for. There's no reason why anybody should have 60 billion, 80 billion, 100 billion dollars in the bank when they have employees who can't take care of themselves. That makes no sense to me. It shouldn't be allowed.
No, but we're all allowing it. We are all supporting it. We are supporting it. Okay, every single time we go out there and spend this money, okay, we are supporting this system that does not care about people.
And it's difficult to pull out of that. So the first thing we need to do is have a conversation. But our public officials, don't want to have a conversation because they don't want to fix anything, because they much money flowing into their
working
coffers.
well for them.
Yeah.
The system is working extremely well for them. These people got money coming in from all directions. Why would they want to stop that?
They take it right out of your check, even when you can't pay your bills. I mean, there's people who are homeless right now who are working full-time jobs. There's people all over the world living in tiny huts without toilets, without running water, who work every day, 18 hours a day, and get nothing for it. For these big corporations like Nike, who have plenty of resources to provide better for their people, for their employees. See, that's the thing. That's what everybody misses about one of the things that made America great was when we were building this country, companies used to have to operate here, and like GM, and they gave people good jobs with health insurance
and they actually
benefits and
had to care about their employees.
Right.
That doesn't have to happen anymore.
Then they got so big, they were able to take it overseas. And like I said, I've talked about this. That was Phil Knight's brainchild when he grew Nike. Phil Knight literally got he made his money off the backs of child slaves in the 80s. He also did something else. Nike did something very, very clever. They really hoodwinked the nation because people grew to love Nike, and even after they found out that the company was built on the backs of child slaves, they didn't care. They didn't care. They kept giving the money, the company even more money. And to this day, nobody cares. But outsourcing really was the beginning of the end for America, because we didn't outsource because we had to. It wasn't like, oh, there's not enough people here to do this labor. No, these companies outsourced so they could have basically slave labor. So they turned themselves into glorified slave owners, but since it's out of sight, out of mind, nobody here really cared. We just kept buying those products. I mean, even my husband went to work at Nike. We used to love Nike, even when they were doing this. I think back to what kind of person was I back then, turning my eye on that? My blind eye. It had to happen to my husband for us to really understand, how vicious and nasty and cruel that company really is. Because they got involved with trying to kill our kid, okay? And nobody wants to admit it.
Nobody
they don't want to talk about
it.
What Nike did to our family, because it's going to leave a sour feeling in the gut of your stomach that this has been allowed to go on and that no one's done nothing about it and that other people have been hurt along the way. Because we've been speaking up for 16 years, only 2 years publicly, but the sheer amount of letters, lawsuits, all things that we have filed, the documents behind my book in this case, they're very telling.
Folks, we can't go on like this, but we are going to continue to get out here and try to bring up these issues. We're going to keep on talking. Folks, we also talk in Multnomah Village on Wednesdays.
At 11 o'clock.
We're doing what we can, but without support, it's not going to get very far. But we're going to continue to get out here because we believe in humanity. We believe in America. We believe that justice will reign. Eventually. It takes time, folks.
We have to keep fighting for it.
You have to have faith.
We have to keep fighting for it. And to all my women out there, I hope that those of you that want to come speak up for this little girl, that want to come speak up about anything you want to come speak about, come speak. You're not going to get beaten up here, okay? We are here. We are practicing free speech. We are doing something that our public officials can't even get done, okay?
They don't want to do it.
I hope people feel encouraged to speak up. Don't be afraid, because if we lose free speech here in America, then we lose it for the globe, okay? So we need Americans to be acting like Americans. We need people to be able to speak without being beaten up. So if you're somebody who thinks it's cool to go beat up somebody because they have an opinion, you should really rethink that, because because I tell you what, you know, you go to some countries, you try to do something like this, you're going to be disappeared. You know, people fought and died for us to have this right, and we should all be respecting the right of free speech. Period, point blank. I see so much in the media of people just trying to just destroy one another for their opinions. That's got to stop. That's got to stop. And we need to start having some real conversations. And me and my husband, we're going to be out here doing this. We are 100% committed for the rest of our lives to this effort.
As long as it takes, folks.
We'll give it all we got. We're trying to get out here and hopefully turn this ship around before it completely sinks into the ocean. Because that's where we're at. And unfortunately, our elected officials and our legal community, shame on Stoll Reeves, big time. They're all involved.
These people are involved with this agenda to basically get rid of people. And why?
Here we go, another ambulance. Who knows what it is in this city? It's a shooting, it's an OD, it's always something terrible. It's awful what's going on here. And it's because people have lost their value, they're being subjugated, they're being, you know, we're all being run around by this filthy agenda that these big corporations are pushing on everybody, that the media, the coward media, it's so sad. We just don't have a free and fair media. I don't know what's going on with our journalists in this country. Like, it's funny to me that they can't cover this. They just can't do it because it's true. And it opens up an entire conversation as to what the hell is going on here. Because this crime covered up against her daughter, it goes all the way to the top. And we've been complaining about this for 16 years. So we've had all kinds of presidents. I mean, when Qadira was burned, George Bush was president. Then we had Obama. Then we had Trump. Now we have Biden. None of those administrations have given a shit about this. So...
But that tells me, folks, that they're all in on it. Okay?
Right.
When do people actually start mattering?
Right.
Do you ever want to matter, ma'am? Do you want to matter?
She doesn't want to matter. She wants to not be the value.
We have people actually coming down here telling us to shut up.
Because they don't want to matter.
Folks, you have to matter.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge that you are what is valuable in order to get things going on the right track.
It's not
here with our race of beings on this planet. You can't keep on saying that you and anybody else doesn't matter.
It's your responsibility. There's personal responsibility in this. We all need to start holding ourselves accountable and responsible for the mess that's going on down here. And I'm sorry, but getting rid of people, denigrating people, burning down our communities, none of that is going to help.
Asking people to shut up that are speaking up about the garbage condition on this planet, that's not helping us, folks.
No, we have a lot of work to do. Me and my husband would like to start doing it. So anytime, you know, people want to start getting right, we are here. We are here to make a difference, and we are sharing our story. We're putting our ass on the line here. Don't think the FBI is watching us. The police are watching us. We all know one another. And we know all these attorneys in this building.
We're good friends with all these people.
Yeah, we're
folks.
good friends.
We're good buddies with all these people.
They just don't want you to know that they've been talking to us, covering up this crime against our daughter for all these years. They've been lying to you. The media's lying to you. Everybody's lying. So I don't know when everybody's going to stop lying. All these discussions about race equity and CRT and white supremacy, it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit, folks.
It's all bullshit. I'm sorry, but it is.
You do not want equity.
No.
Okay? That's the last thing that the money wants.
Nope.
That's the last thing that the money wants.
No.
Okay? Because if there's equity, that means the money doesn't have any more power.
And maybe they're going to have to be more fair. You know, and they don't want to have to be more fair because, like I said, these billionaires, these multimillionaires, they have a hoarding condition. You know, that's a big thing on this planet today is the conditions aren't this bad because people aren't working. I hate when, you know, the billionaire class, you've got the World Economic Forum, all
the things that we could be doing different here on the planet if the agreement was to take care of people.
We need to get that basic agreement
going. We have not made that agreement, folks. It's funny how an entire civilization of one single race of beings can't acknowledge that they are what is actually important to their own society.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people actually say, well, when all the people are gone, at least the planet will be here. What? That doesn't even get the logic there. It confuses me. You don't want to try to see if we can make this planet, as nice a place as we can make it. We have to sit here for millennia and argue and act stupid and never get it figured out. We've got all these people laying on the streets. My God, the animals don't even act like this.
There is no
we're being heathen.
reason for it. There's no reason for it.
And then we get mad at people that get thrown out on the street or living in these dirt huts. We're mad that they're not doing enough to fix the planet and this, that, and the third when they're doing everything they can. I'm tired of it. Let some other voices at the table. I realize we have this archaic system where rich people get elected and then
they get to decide whose voice matters, right?
Yeah, they espouse their terrible ideas, ruin everything, and then we're all just supposed to stand around and go, oh, well, we're just pathetic. We can't say anything. We're just going to never do anything about it.
We just can't get anything figured out here, right?
Stop being pathetic. I've said to people, if you have something to say, come down and say it. We're down here talking. So anyway, we're going to shut it down because it's cold and I'm tired. But we will be back for week 110. I hope everybody learned something today. That's why we come down here. Could we come down here really out of love? We don't have to be doing this. We could just, take what we've got and disappear and be fine. But we're not going to do that.
No, because we see the peril that humanity is in right now.
We're really down here out of love.
Folks, you are very much our family, okay?
Right.
And to acknowledge that you are family is an important thing. And we are not treating each other like we're family. We are not treating each other like brothers and sisters. That's what God wants. God wants us to see each other as what is valuable, not anything else, not the resources, not no money, okay? People.
I would rather be on the team that works hard to save as many people on this planet and the life experience here than be on the team that's just trying to get rid of everybody and replace everything with AI and hoard. Who wants to be on that team? That's just a shitty team. That's the team Nike's on. Get on a different team if that's the team you're on. Start thinking about what's going on here and what you really want for your future and the future of your children and the future of this planet. Because we can do better. We can do better.
But it does start with an agreement, a conversation about what our world is based on.
Let's do the affirmation.
Okay, so we're going to say our affirmation, and we hope at some point you join in with us because it's important. Folks, here's how it goes. I am the value.
I am the value.
You are the value.
You are the value.
We are the value.
We are the value.
I am the value. You are the value. We are the value. I am the value. You are the value. We are the value. I am the value. You are the value. We are the value. Folks, not money, not gold or silver, not cryptocurrency, not bricks, okay? Your very life, that is what actually, literally matters. It's the only thing. Once you admit that to yourself, once you acknowledge it, once you embrace it, that's when things on this planet.
Oh yeah, the police, they ran a fraudulent trial. They didn't treat our daughter at the hospital.
The court system here.